We'll be talking about Russia-backed army crushing the rebels in Syria. We'll talk about that in a second, but let's actually give you some synopsis of what is happening in Gaza at the moment. Amid Israel's genocide war in Gaza, which has killed more than 44,000 Palestinians, I would put the number at least 50,000, at least minimum. So the resistance groups in Palestine, nevertheless, and across the region continue their operations against Tel Aviv regime and its Western backers. If you take a look at the recent numbers, the casualties and the resistance that these Zionist IDF Israeli terrorist forces are facing in Gaza, it is something absolutely amazing, because we never expected this resistance to continue on for so long, even though they are facing this IDF forces supported or backed by the Western countries. Let's take a listen a little bit more here. The major operations carried out by the Palestinian and regional resistance groups on Tuesday, December 3rd, are as follows, and I will show you the details in a second. But just to let you know, on December 3rd, which is going to be just yesterday, there were multi-front attack on IDF, and all of these brigades and military wing of Hamas, for example, Al-Qassam brigades, we also have Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, we have Al-Quds brigades, we have Mujahideen brigades, and including Yemeni operations and the military wing. All of these are very much activated, and they're in operation and giving some real blow to the Zionist forces in Israel. Al-Qassam brigade, so let's see what they are doing. So basically, Al-Qassam right now is in the Jenaina neighborhood east of Rafah, and this axis of resistance and this point, Beni or Bien Benail Netzarim, this map, that the one you are seeing right here, this place is very significant for today's discussion, because this place, even though it is a very strategically important place close to Rafah crossing, but it came under attack, and I will explain to you more in a second with all the details. But before I move on, just remind you guys, most of my viewers are not subscribed. To get all the updates about what is happening in Gaza and also Russia and the fight going on in Syria, consider subscribing. They have attacked the Jenaina neighborhood east of Rafah crossing, southern Gaza Strip, and they have engaged in fierce clashes with Israeli forces. So this is coming from Al-Qassam brigades. Okay, so we're talking about just the Al-Qassam brigades, and they have also sniped Israeli soldier near the Zamo roundabout east of Jabalia in northern Gaza. In other words, Al-Qassam brigades, they are fighting, or they are attacking Israeli forces both on the north side of Gaza and also the south side of Gaza. Let's talk about Al-Aqsa, what they are doing. So Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, they have confronted Israeli forces storming the city of Tubas in the occupied West Bank and targeted them with barrage bullets. And then they have also confronted Israeli forces in the vicinity of Turkish hospital. And remember, this Turkish hospital, they have attacked the Israeli Zionist forces, the genocide maniacs, and they killed innocent people there. Even though this is just a hospital, nevertheless it came under attack. This is a Turkish hospital. And elsewhere in Gaza, or I should say overall situation in Gaza, is that 25,000 people need to be evacuated. They are all injured and they are facing death. 25,000. They are not getting any medical assistance in Gaza. This is the situation. This is the genocide. Now let's talk about Al-Quds a little bit. Al-Quds Brigade's operations. So they have, in a joint operation with the Mujahideen Brigades and the Martyr Abu Ali Mustafa Brigades, targeted Israeli media gatherings. So Israeli military gatherings in the Netzarim axis. So Netzarim axis is a very crucial point. Netzarim axis, if I zoom out, you can see here, and you can see Rafah is very close to Netzarim. So here you have Netzarim and here you have Rafah. Hopefully you can see my pointer here, and then you have also Khan Yunis, and then you have West Bank, and you also have the Beit Lahia that is also coming in track. So this location close to Rafah, Netzarim axis, right now is becoming a focal point of conflict between Al-Qassam brigades of Hamas and the Israeli Zionist forces. But I'll bring you more details on this one in a second. They have also, Al-Quds brigades, they have also engaged in fierce battles with Israeli forces in various combat axes using a heavy barrage of bullets. So these fightings, a lot of them are taking place face to face, close distance. Targeted, they have also, Al-Quds brigade have targeted a convoy of Israeli military vehicles with a heavy barrage of bullets near Al-Majd gas station. And then we also have Mujahideen brigades in a joint operation with Al-Quds brigades. They have targeted Israeli forces at the Fajah military site and the Ner Serim axis. And again, you can see the fight in and around Rafah crossing is getting intensified. Both the Mujahideen brigades and also Al-Quds brigades and also Al-Qassam brigades of Hamas itself, all of these axes of resistance are fighting in and around that area of Rafah crossing. Now the fight is obviously spilling over to other part of Gaza, so it was concentrated mostly on the southern side, or sorry, northern side. Now it is going to the other side, which is the southern side of Israel, and this is not a good news for the Zionists, because then they will find it very hard, if not impossible, to contain the whole situation. Now, in addition to this, Yemeni militaries, they have also conducted some operation in coordination with the Islamic resistance in Iraq, carried out 3 military operations against the Israeli military. 2 operations targeted Israeli sites in northern occupied Palestine using a barrage of drones, and operation targeted a vital Israeli military site in al-Rafah area with a barrage of drones. So this is southern occupied Palestine. So Yemen, the attack also from Islamic resistance in Iraq and also Yemeni forces, they are attacking with most of the time drones because they're far distance in southern occupied Palestine. Means southern occupied Palestine means fake state of Israel, and other parties are attacking with guns, one-on-one combat. Therefore, you can see that the Zionist forces, IDF, they are still engaged in war. It could also be because now we know Hezbollah is trying its best to abide by the ceasefire deal, so that the Israeli forces would not attack Hezbollah if they cross borders, for example, from Iraq to Syria, because right now the Hezbollah forces, they are very much in need to be in Syria to help Bashar al-Assad. These other groups, they are keeping Israeli forces busy with some kind of fight. In other words, they are not letting Israeli forces go off the hook yet. Rather, they're making them to come back over and over again and don't have the flexibility or the luxury to attack whoever they want. In this case, Hezbollah crossing border from Iraq to Syria and also from other places. You get my point? I don't know if they're coordinating all of these groups, Al-Qassam, Mujahideen, Al-Quds, we do not know, and Hezbollah, I don't know, but looks like they do definitely have some plan, and without a shadow of a doubt, Yemeni Houthis, they are targeting Israel in order to, of course, help Hezbollah crossing from Iraq and Lebanon into Syria. There is no doubt about that Yemen is directly involved, and they are collaborating and coordinating with Hezbollah. But for the Mujahideen brigades and Al-Quds brigades and Al-Aqsa Martyrs brigades, Al-Qassam brigades, we do not know if they're in contact, because according to some media sources, they're now claiming that Hamas has welcomed these Syrian rebels. And they said that that same source claimed that these rebels, they sent Hamas $20 million, which I doubt happened, because $20 million, no, I don't think that happened. But it is possible that they are communicating between, the communication is taking place between Hamas and the Syrian rebels. That is possible, but $20 million, I don't buy that story. Now let's take a look about this other particular news here. So Israelis killed in ambush. Palestinian group Hamas ambushed Israeli troops in southern Gaza, city of Rafah, releasing a video showing the powerful attack on Israeli Defense Forces, or IDF, I call them. The footage highlights a complex operation in a neighborhood east of Rafah involving close quarters combat. The operation allegedly resulted in IDF casualties. So again, IDF is getting killed. With intense gunfights between Hamas and Al-Qassam brigades and Israeli troops, the video shows an Israeli armored vehicle were destroyed. Reports suggest, if you look out on the screen, that Israeli soldiers were killed or injured while a helicopter seen leaving the area, possibly carrying those hit during the operation. And then you also have now news from Syria, where Ukraine, they have opened a new front. Let's talk about what is happening between Ukraine, Russia, and also these rebels in Syria. So this is what we see here, that amid the ongoing war in Ukraine, Russia has accused Kiev of supporting terrorist activities in Syria. Moscow claims that Ukrainian security services have been involved in training Syrian militants, including teaching them to operate drones with military expertise. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova also charged with the Western forces are inciting terrorism violence in Syria, while Syrian rebels have claimed to have captured Aleppo. Now, what I find to be very, very interesting here is Russia and also Iran. They are for some reason not blaming Turkey whatsoever, when we know Turkey is directly involved to back or to support these rebels. But they are not going against Putin at all. Sorry, against Erdogan at all. Both Putin and also Pezeshkian, Masoud Pezeshkian, the Iranian prime president, they're not going openly against Turkey. I'm pretty sure behind closed doors they're fuming with Erdogan, but so far we have seen them blaming only US and Israel and the Western powers for this problem in Syria. Now Putin, Putin-backed army, so his army, Russian army, crushes Syrian rebel offensive. So they claim 2,000 were killed, and I personally believe this number was inflated, simply because if you take a look at the progress of these rebels, you see them knocking on the door of Hama. Okay, right now they are in the city of Hama, and Hama is only 200 kilometers from Damascus, Syrian capital. They have left Aleppo. They're using the highway number M5 and M6, and they have captured that all the way from Aleppo to now Hama. And Russia is trying to obviously contain their advancement. One thing I have also noticed, which is very, very significant, and that is that Russia's airstrike has slowed down a little bit. Means they are still operating. There are no doubt they are carrying out strikes against these rebel groups. Nevertheless, if you take a look at the trend, the way they have reacted, Russia in the beginning, that no, we have to protect Assad no matter what, we have to protect him, we have to protect the city of Hama, we have to get rid of the rebels from Aleppo, and they were using heavy aerial bombardment with their fighter jets. That has slowed down quite a bit, not a little bit, quite a bit. Because two reasons. Number one, Russia is not telling people that their military operation or their aerial bombardment operation in Syria is an ongoing thing, and they are not giving us any accounts or any news, nothing new, in other words. That's number one, because I have not seen any statement coming from Russian ministry or military, nothing. None of those things came out. They are there bombing Syrian levels, that's what they're saying. And number two, there is really no people Idlib is right now completely free of any rebel, because the rebels, they have moved from Idlib to Aleppo, then to Hama. So Russia is saying we're bombing those places. 2,000 people getting killed, and we do not really know exactly what happened. Where these 2,000 were killed, we do not know. None of those things. So this is why I said the number is inflated big time. Nevertheless, the Syrian army, backed by Russian fighter jets, has claimed to have crushed the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham rebels' offensive and pushed them out of the city of Hama. Press TV reported that forces have managed to kill 2,000 rebels since the offensive began on November 27. RT News released video of fierce fighting an airstrike near Hama. The footage shows how Russian forces coordinate with Syrian army wipe out the rebels. Again, I don't see that. And another thing that I also have noticed, and that is Hezbollah was not called by Iran or its military or its leadership echelon to go and fight in Syria yet. They were not, because if you take a look at this, for example, news, you can see there that Iran is sending regional fighters to Syria, not Hezbollah, and then exclusive Hezbollah not intending to send fighters to Assad in Syria. And Iran would consider any call from Assad to send troops to Syria. So Iran is not tapping on Hezbollah at all. They are saying that the local fighters, they are enough to contain the situation, or if we need, worst comes worst, we will send our troops. And the Hezbollah, they are, again, it could be that Hezbollah, after fighting with Israel for so many days and weeks, they are not willing to go or intervene in this conflict in Syria for Assad. That's what it looks like to me. And then Iraqi fighters head to Syria to battle. So other rebels are also entering into Syria to help Bashar al-Assad. Except Hezbollah, all other parties are involved. And also we don't see much of an airstrike from Russia in the last few or several hours, I should say. And therefore it is becoming a little bit confusing, like why they're not taking on these rebels and crush them, all together. What is going on between Russia, Iran, and also Turkey? We do not know. Behind closed doors, do they have an agreement? I don't know what they're doing. But the other reason I said Russia is not making much of an advancement is because there are also reports suggesting that Syrian rebels have captured multiple Syrian Air Force's MiG-23 fighter jets. Even though these are all for show, these are not operational, they are not functional, but nevertheless they were successful to capture a lot of them in Syria. So the rebel groups recognized under the banner of Military Operations Command. And this is another thing. The Hayat Tahrir Sham, HTS, they are not fighting this alone. They have different militias, if you like, and armies, sometimes even volunteers, sometimes the local Syrian, joining in this whole operation. That's why they don't call it HTS, Hayat Tahrir Sham operation. They call it Military Operations Command. Who is in charge of all of this? We do not know. It is just that maybe an amalgamation of so many of these groups coming together with one purpose, which is to get rid of Assad, Bashar al-Assad. That's what they want. And again, it is very, very complex, the situation right there in Syria right now and how things are unfolding. Very, very complex, because a lot of people are pointing towards the West saying US and Israel are supporting them, but then the next thing you know is other parties are joining the fight. And as I said on my community tab, that if Kurdish PKK, they are fighting for US because US is supporting this PKK and Kurdish group in Syria, then people claiming that US is also supporting these rebels doesn't make any sense, because these rebels are against those PKK and Kurdish groups. We do not know exactly what is happening, but they have captured, according to this report, they have captured a lot of these MiG Russian aircrafts. Again, these are not operational at all. At the same time, to make things even worse, these groups, these rebels, they know how to use drones. And whether it was taught to them, whether through Ukrainian military or Turkish military, we do not know. Regardless of what it is, looks like these people are becoming very good at using those drones to strike Russian forces and Syrian forces. And quite frankly, Syrian forces, they're not that advanced in terms of using those technology in a warfare, and therefore they become very, very vulnerable. And this is why perhaps they just left. When these rebels came to Aleppo, they just fled. The Syrian army, the Bashar al-Assad army, they fled. Why? Because maybe it is that they know these rebels, they have technology and weapons, advanced weapons that they cannot deal with, and so better run for life. I think that's what exactly happened. But we will give you more updates on this one. If you have any more comments, leave a comment in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.